Hey guys, what's up? It's time for One Piece 790. I
Yes,
think it's finally over,
yes,
hopefully?
yes. No, it's over. His glasses have broken. His glasses are broken. They're
Yeah,
done. Like all that BS theory that he has some hidden power that in his eyes that's gonna get revealed. That's a load of bull crap. That's just Oda trolling. I mean, come on.
yeah, this is Luffy's
If
last attack, and
I
that's
mean,
pretty much it, I think.
if Luffy didn't defeat Doflamingo with that attack, nothing Luffy will defeat him because, well, hello, Luffy's all was running on steam and still managed to go into Gear Fourth and
Right.
pretty much combined it with Gear Third to pull off a King Kong gun.
Uh-huh.
Like that's why I wish it would have been a Gatling or Storm technique because when they roll that out and it looks like it's the final blow, it's always the final blow.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like when they use that technique to finish off the opponent, you know it's done. You
Hmm.
don't see them do a epic like you know like when you saw the Luffy's last Jack Gatling against Lelouch, you knew it was over.
Yep.
It was just like no. When you saw Gum Gum storm through the ceiling of the tomb in Alabasta, you knew it was done. There are just certain times like those techniques when they're brought out, they usually and the opponent goes down hard, it's usually for good.
Uh-huh.
And especially if he would have done a Gear Fourth and did it into the like just pounded him into the ground. I mean, honestly, based on this, just the impact Doppelman, just the destruction Luffy caused with this one technique, pretty much confirms that Gear Fourth Luffy would have annihilated Noah in like 10 seconds flat.
Oh yeah. It's not even close.
Like Luffy is now it's official. There is no doubt. Luffy is country level destructive. Possibly more, since we don't even haven't even seen his solution. Because yes, King Kong Gun was powerful, but we saw in the flashback, it's like, well, Luffy has to find a better technique that isn't so straining, which means another possible setup for Gear Fifth that and Gear Fifth might not be as taxing as Gear Fourth.
Maybe.
Because I mean, adding Gear Third to Gear Fourth isn't going to make it less stressful.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to see Law still kicking and doing things, although he
saving
saved the wrong person.
he saved Rebecca for the umpteenth time.
he, he's
Rebecca's been saved.
he instead of that poor rock, he saved
Rebecca.
Rebecca.
No, no, no. Instead of keeping the rock out of it, he put it in harm. He put it use it as a shield to protect Rebecca when he
That's
should have been
abuse, you
using.
know.
Yeah, that's abuse. He should have been using Rebecca as a shield to protect the rock.
Are we just gonna stand there and let stones get crushed while we have useless characters like Rebecca get saved? No. Call
Like
now and sign our petition to change this. No, just
no.
kidding.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous.
Uh huh. I don't know, but
Sort of,
I
sort of.
just I
But
just found that amusing. But
and of course, it's not a dress. It's as of late in the past couple of months, it seems like we can't have a One Piece chapter with at least some panel time dedicated to people pushing the birdcage.
right.
Like really, of course, it's also important to note that Gats is still alive,
Yeah.
so that's cool.
Yeah, I guess. Not that
So
he's gonna ever be relevant again unless
no, he's
maybe.
gonna be the Straw Hat Pirates' personal announcer.
Uh-huh.
He's just gonna follow. He's gonna be like the referee from Metabots. If you've ever seen that, he's just gonna pop out at random times and start announcing shit.
Right.
Some so, which I always thought that was weird.
Mhm.
But anyway, so I mean that's but Doflamingo, he didn't go down easy. He
No.
pulled out all the stops. And he did the one thing he hadn't done to Luffy the entire arc, and was got him in a parasite string.
Right. But he fucking
Now,
broke it.
but see, now this is probably just bad, like panel design, but he went from being in parasite string to gear fourth, which caused him to be broken out of the parasite string. But how did he activate gear fourth? It doesn't show him blowing in to his muscles. I mean,
Hmm.
so it almost looks like he activates it without even blowing into his muscles.
Right. Maybe he can. Maybe he only has to do it like once in a certain period of time or something like that, and then I
Well, I
don't know.
mean, for all we know, he could have, blown into his facial muscles. For all we fucking know,
Right.
we don't know. But he did. We like even if all we needed to see was him, like going to bite his arm or something. At least that we didn't need to see him actually reinflate. We just needed to see him put his mouth on his arm so he could blow it up.
Uh huh.
And then the next scene, but then again, he couldn't move on his own, so that's why it's kind of confusing
Mhm.
as to how he was able to enter Gear Fourth without, Doflamingo's permission, because that's pretty
Right.
much what he needed at that point, because he was in the under the parasite string.
Uh huh. Yeah.
But it
So
was,
do we say that? Do we say that Luffy's Gear Fourth Luffy is stronger than Diamond Jozu, or do we say that perhaps the parasite string is weaker when Doflamingo's weaker? I don't know.
I'd have to say that Gear Fourth Luffy is probably stronger than, no, well, I guess then again, I don't know.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
It's a tough one. I mean, initially you could say so, maybe in brute strength, maybe. But we gotta also remember that that was Diamond Jozu 2 years ago.
Right.
Plus, based on the encounter, you could also assume that he hasn't had much experience fighting Doflamingo and his abilities.
Mhm.
So maybe not knowing what to do. Plus, he's not. He doesn't have he wasn't transforming. He was he was already going full power at the time when he was strung up, whereas Luffy wasn't.
Mhm.
Because when you're tying somebody up, you tie them up to make sure that they can't get out. But if, say for instance, you tied up Goku to try and make sure he couldn't move, not knowing he could go Super Saiyan and become stronger, you wouldn't, you wouldn't make the restraints strong enough to hold back something you didn't think was possible.
Right.
But then he transforms into Super Saiyan, then boom. I'm sure he wasn't able to predict. I mean, he said it was predictable, but did he really think? I don't think in his mind that he thought it was possible for Luffy, while under his control, to go into Gear Fourth. So he might not have put them in as strongly as they needed to be
That's
to
possible.
to hold back a Gear Fourth Luffy.
Yeah, that's definitely possible as well.
But obviously, as we all know, yes, once again, we still have to bring up the whole idea of most likely their strength is coordinated with how strong Dolphy is at the point. And since he's
Right.
currently very injured, he's probably not as his string attacks aren't as strong.
Yeah, I
You
think so
know,
as well.
so it could be or it could just be a combination of a bunch of different things.
Mhm.
But overall, he Luffy got out, and even though you have that friggin' giant like wings of string and a spider web string shield, Luffy just annihilates it with a King Kong gun attack,
Yep.
just slamming Doflamingo into the ground with such force. The immediate area, is snapped in half and then just like caves in on itself.
Yep. Which is ridiculous. It's awesome.
And we still don't think that he's going all out. Like we thought Gear Fourth was him going all out, But the fact of the matter is with that flashback with Rayleigh, we learned two things. One, Luffy has something else up his sleeve. And two, he had Gear Force when he was training with Rayleigh,
Which is half the time.
which means because a lot of people were thinking that maybe he developed it while he was in that 6 months of training by himself.
Hmm.
But no, that's not the case. He had it before then, which means he could have easily had a year plus to train with Gear Force and anything new.
Right.
So could actually be, for all we know, he could be almost like a lot closer, or should I say, he's probably a lot closer to Admiral at level than we originally thought.
Right.
Which then begs the see, this is why certain things can be annoying when coming out of a time skip, because Luffy had 2 years of training, and yet he's still and he's doing all these massive things to Doflamingo, yet he struggled with Horty and friggin' Caesar.
Uh huh. Yeah. Just chalk it up to not going all out. So whatever.
I know that's one of the most stupid things is when you find out that the character's been holding struggles to defeat these enemies, but then later on you find out he wasn't even going all out against them.
Uh huh.
I mean, yeah, I can understand not going all out against the villain at the very beginning of your encounter with them because you don't want to end it too quickly. Because the story is a lot more interesting when it's a longer fight and a longer arc, usually.
Hmm.
Especially if it goes on too long, obviously, yeah. However, he could have pulled out Gear Fourth and just wiped the floor. I mean, not that really Caesar Clown didn't really need it. It was just the whole chemical thing was an issue.
Right.
Hoity Jones, Luffy could have pulled out Gear Fourth and would have knocked him out easily.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Or at least use like a Gear Second and Gear Third combo. Like, come on. We
Yeah. I know.
it,
Whatever.
revealing all this new power that he has and knowing that he's had it since the end of the time skip just really frustrates me because it's like, really, you had all this trouble with Horty and you could have just wiped him out with ease.
Right.
And that fight was just too long.
It was. That whole arc was too long.
But as for this arc, oh my god, we are only what, maybe 10 or so chapters away from reaching. I think this is what, the 90th chapter of the arc, and I think we're about 10 or so chapters away from tying in length with the entirety of the War of the Best saga, which is
Right.
that begins with them getting to the second half of the Grand Line and ends at the end of the Three Brothers arc when they go into the time skip.
Yeah. Let's not go there. But yeah, this chapter overall I
But
thought was very good. Obviously.
it'll be even better if next week it's 100% confirmed that Doflamingo is dead, or
Yeah.
at least down.
Definitely.
So, good stuff.
Yeah.